Hello, everybody. Good morning. Shegun Fatumo, you are the first one here today again. Good morning. Natalia Valentinovna, good morning. Tokumbo Talks, Kenneth Amobi, good morning. Folafe, Ernest Ebong, Lola Shoromke is here. Bose Fayajola Abiodun, Ola Luwe. Oh, thank God you are here. You know, you are the one I thought I blocked accidentally, but I couldn't find where I blocked you. So thank God you are back. Richard Brooks, T. Mark T. Praise. By the way, T. Mark T. Praise. I think I wrote, you wanted to talk to me, so I wrote you on Skype. You did not reply to the Skype message, I guess. So let me know if you are still interested. Neki Okoro, Oluwakayode is here. Faith Kenny, Mayowa. It's a happy Father's Day. So, okay, is it Father's Day today? All right, thank you. Kike Woronkeje is here. Tibet Justice. Olowo is here. Eric. Adebayo is here. Tiger is here. Alvin. Obediah. Jemina. Anthony. Aline. Shoni Rao. Adedamola is here. Shegun Lawal. Adetoro. Anu Paraskal. Cons. Also saying Happy Father's Day. Pastor Irene. Lorna. Saying Happy Father's Day, everyone. Dexter. Now, you know what? Let's go ahead and share the link if you don't mind. So, Judith Badkwe, please, let's go share the link. Let's go share the link. Let's go share the link, please. All right. So, if you have shared the link, anyone who is here to share the link, let's go look for a way to share the link. Mayo White showed us the way to do that the other day, so let's go ahead and do that. Thank you, everyone, for your greetings on Father's Day. Well, you know, I'm an old man now, so if I'm being greeted and congratulated as on Father's Day, it makes me feel old. It makes me feel like an old man. Well, I guess not just as a father physically, but as a father spiritually, right? I guess that's what it's all about. Well, thank you. Thank you. You know, we have just one Father, Jesus says. We have our Heavenly Father. So our Heavenly Father is our Father. So, and of course, I'm getting old. I'm 50 years old. 50 years old. So, you know, not so young anymore. The young shall grow. The young shall grow. Yeah. Well, welcome everyone. And if you have shared the, if you have shared the link, let's go ahead and start our teaching today. Today, I'm going to be talking on overcoming the burden of debt. Overcoming the burden of debt. How do we are going to, we have been talking about financial freedom. And there is just no way for you to enjoy financial liberty and freedom unless you overcome the debt burden. You've got to overcome the burden of debt. So debt is a real heavy load on a lot of people. So if you are on debt, if you are having some debt on you, if you are owing people money, or if debt is not giving you the chance to be who you need to be, you are going to struggle for a long time if you are owing some people money, if you have debt to the extent that you will not be able to pay, you will not be able to build your financial future. So for you to really build your financial future, you need to first of all deal with the debt question. We need to deal with the debt question. So the reason why did I call this the overcoming the burden of debt? Because debt is It's a burden. Debt is a burden. It's a burden because it weighs down on you. It weighs you down, and it's crushing. Debt is a bad thing. It can kill you morally. It can weigh you down spiritually, and even physically. People get into all sorts of problem because they are in debt, and so we have to talk about that. And I think it might take me a few days uh, to be able to overcome, to be able to really clear this topic of debt. So any one of you, and the way the world system is set up these days is that most people now have one debt or the other. So for me to ask you if any one of you is having debt, it's like a waste of time, because most likely, most likely, everyone is now having one debt or the other. If you are not in debt to people, you might be in debt to if you are not indebted to people, you might be indebted to the bank. If you are not indebted to the bank, you might be indebted to credit card companies. If you are not indebted to credit card company, you might be indebted to insurance companies. So that's just the way it is. This whole world is built up in such a way that you are supposed to be in one debt or the other, So, but the truth is, you need to get yourself free from that debt before you could really live a peaceful life for real. I had a story just recently when an old man got retired. I think it was a doctor, medical doctor, and but before he practiced medicine all his life, and maybe for 50 years or 20, 30 years or 40 years, and he was he was in debt that he did not realize that he was still having. The debt was student loan debt. I don't know how that happens, that someone is owing or having student loan debt and is no more aware that he's still having it. So I think he didn't pay the debt. I think he didn't pay the debt when he was still practicing as a medical doctor. But when he retired and he was waiting for his gratuity, to go and live big, and they brought the bill to him. The problem in America with the student loan debt is that it increases over the years. So over 40 years, I think he had finished school for 40 years or so. So for that 40 years, the debt has really grown so much that all his pension, gratuity was nothing to cover for the debt he needed to pay the government. And I think the man was ready to go and commit suicide. The man was ready to go and commit suicide. After serving your country your whole life, after working your whole life and being a respected person in the society, and you are now going on pension and you don't have anything to live for, and then you are still overburdened with debt. And so the only option he could find was to go commit suicide. He wanted to kill himself. So what am I saying? It's a sad story, but debt is killing people all over the world. It might not be killing them physically, but it's killing them morally. Debt is destroying marriages and families, and that's just the world system. The world system is built in such a way that they want to put you in debt. They want you to be in one debt or the other, and so you must be careful. You must watch out for yourself. Nobody is going to watch out for you. The banks are not going to watch out for you that you pay your debt or you get rid of debt. They are not going to watch after. They want you to compile as many and as much debt as possible, and they will be milking you out of it. And you think banks are there to defend your interests? No, I don't think so. Banks are not really interested in your interest. They are interested in their interest. They want you to pay their money back, but not just the money back. They want you to pay the interest on the money as well. So, and I know that there are some people that are having loan from the bank and they are still not even started paying the loan itself. They are still paying the interest, and it's taking them 10 years, 15 years, just paying the interest, working for interest. So people actually are selling themselves out to, into slavery. By going to work and going to work all the time. You are going to work. Why are you going to work? To pay your debt. So you are actually working for debt. So debt is one of the ways that Satan really uses to enslave people. I mean, of course, there are good debts, and that is when you take money for business or for assets, but not just for business. But before you can take money, we can only say you have a good debt if, let's say, you are doing a business. Let's say the business is $1 million business, and you already have 70% of that money, 700,000, and you took a debt or you borrow money to the tune of 30%. Let's say $300,000. That is a good one, because you have the money. The money that you have, your original money, 700,000, is 2 times or several times over or above the money you are borrowing. So normally, if you want to have a good debt, you must, the money you are having, your capital or your assets, you must be like minimum 3 to 5 times more than the money you are borrowing. That is when it's a good debt. Then another factor that makes it a good debt is that you are taking that money to use it for development, for growth, for business, for asset acquisition, for multiplication, not for consumption. You don't do like some of my village people. They go and take debt and use it for burial ceremony. They use it for funeral. Go and take debt and use it to bury your dead relatives. You will not pay for it until you die. Anyway, but if you are not able to pay your debt back, and debt has been killing you, and you have been, under the burden of debt, the first thing to start doing, the first thing you want to start doing is to sit down, take a sheet of paper and a pen, or maybe open your Word document or your iPad, and sit down and do self-analysis. You need to do self-analysis, which is always painful. It's not always the most convenient and the easiest thing for you to do. But you want to sit down and analyze how you got to that place in the first place, how you got to that condition in the first place. You want to tell yourself some very hard truth. Of course, you will not find this very pleasant, but it's like when you're having a cancer. They need to operate it. They need to cut it off. And you think cutting it off is painful? Well, you wait till the cancer grows. You will discover that you'll be begging them soon to cut it off, because the pain is just going to be unbearable. And so cutting off the cancer and doing surgery in that particular situation is a help. It's a blessing. So it's something like we have to do. When it comes to debt, you must sit down, take a sheet of paper and begin to analyze yourself. You need to begin to analyze yourself. And the first question you must ask yourself is this. So if you are writing down, or you are going to watch this again, you better, get a paper and write some of these questions down. The very first question you want to ask yourself is this: how did I get to this place? I'm laughing, but I'm not scorning you. It's not because it's funny. I'm just laughing because what do you do? Either you cry or you laugh. So you need to tell yourself the truth. I just ask yourself that first question: how did I get to this place? And you've got to tell yourself the truth. Tell yourself the truth. Is it as a result of lust? Is it as a result of bad judgment? Have I trusted the wrong people? Did I take an emotional decision? One of the teachings that we did this week is that money is not emotional. So have I broken that law? And what are the laws of money that I've abused, that I've broken, that landed me in this trouble? So you need to ask yourself some very direct questions. Why is it that I couldn't pay this money? When did I promise to pay it back? Why did I fail? Why did I default? So you need to ask yourself those questions, because, the path of deliverance starts from the truth. The path of deliverance starts from the truth. So you need to start telling yourself the truth and just, let the picture become clearer to you. You need to see the picture clearer. You need to see a clear picture how you have come to default on your obligation, on your loan or on your debt. And it's a good thing if the money is working for you, and if you are sure that the money you took, nothing has happened to it, you have not lost it. If because the problem with business is that sometimes things don't work out exactly the same as you have planned. So it may be, but if it's not working out just in terms of date or just in terms of time limit, there is no problem with that. But if it's not working out because you've lost the money, you really need to do some self-scrutinizing. You need to scrutinize yourself. You need to really sit down there and ask yourself that question and say, my God, and help me. But you need to first of all help yourself. The way you need to help yourself is to first of all do analysis. Do analysis of what got you there where you are in the first place. The second question you need to ask yourself is this: what are the laws? What are the laws of money that I've broken? What are the laws of money that I've broken? So remember the teachings that we did. And by the way, I heard that a lot of people who are from Africa, especially from Nigeria, find it difficult because I said if you don't watch these messages 2-3 times, that you don't really catch it, you don't really get it. That for you to really get some of these lessons, you need to watch them several times. And but people come back to me and told me that to watch a video in Nigeria, that you need to have that they have megabyte or something. They call it megabyte. I don't know. I think what they are trying to say is that they have that you need to buy megabytes. That's what they said. You need to buy time or so. When you are watching an hour video, that's like spending $200 or $300 just to watch an hour video. That's like crazy. I said those telecommunication companies in that country, they are just drawing and dragging people into debt. I mean, how could you be paying $200 or so for a video, for 1 hour video? What will happen when you watch 10 hours video? What happens when you watch video every day? So I mean, they are just drawing. Africa is where they are supposed to have everything cheap, but that's where you have everything expensive, more expensive than anywhere in the world. So they cannot keep on repeating or watching these videos again because it's too expensive. So what I've decided to do is to do is it a podcast? I think it's a podcast, they say. We are going to convert my teachings, my video broadcast into podcast. And we're going to convert them into audio. So from next week, by the grace of God, we are going to have all these teachings in podcast, and they will be available on my blog, on Sunday Adelaja blog. And for those of you who want to watch this again, who want to go and go over this teaching again, you can always find them on my blog as well. So if you go to my blog, you'll be able to see the videos. These videos of the old ones, they are all in order, so you could go and watch them over again. And but when it comes to the Africans that need to buy the megabytes, I'm very sorry for that. So we are going to go and do something for you and make sure that we do it into a podcast and get the audios ready. I heard that the audio recordings are not so expensive as the video one. And then with podcast, you can always take it with you and travel with it and be in the car and everywhere instead of watching the video. So I think the audio is a good idea. Anyway, well, if you are in debt, I don't want my program to run you into debt. That's what I'm saying. I don't want watching my program to land all the Africans in debt. Someone said that if it's on podcast, then they could put it on WhatsApp as well. Okay, yeah, I understand why we couldn't do the video on WhatsApp because it would be too expensive as well. Now I understand. Anyway, so we're going to be having podcasts soon, and so I hope that will help some people. Well, where am I? So, you need to ask yourself, why did I get here in the first place? The second thing you need to do, you need to ask yourself, what are the loss of money you have broken? What are the loss of money you have broken? But when you are running into debt, or when you are into debt, you've not just, most of the time, it's not just because you've broken the loss of money. Maybe you've broken, you make some other mistakes. So the next question you must ask yourself, if you are going to analyze yourself and come out of the debt you are in, you need to ask yourself the next question. What are the mistakes I've made? What are the decision-making mistakes I've made? What are the decision-making? Maybe, for example, your wife didn't want you to, the wives are very smart sometimes. Maybe your wife had the intuition and they didn't want you to give that money out, or they didn't want you to borrow that money in the first place. And you said, well, I don't care. And you say, I don't care, I'm just going to do it. So those are some of the mistakes you want to acknowledge, for example. Or maybe you've seen some red lights, or some flags, some warning signs before you went into that debt, and you didn't pay attention to it. So some of those are some of the decision making mistakes you have made in the process of. So there is just no way you are in debt without making some mistakes. Okay. Then another thing you want to find out, another question you want to ask yourself is, so apart from the decision making mistakes, did you make some miscalculations? Because when you are, especially when it's in business, there will be some miscalculations, and so you just need to find out what those miscalculations are and how you can avoid them in the future. What are those miscalculations and how you can avoid them in the future? So to get out of debt, you need to start by telling yourself the truth. To get out of debt, you need to start by confronting the situation where you are and letting yourself know that you are in a bad situation, and then begin to address the question one by one. So the first question, the first thing you need to do is to ask yourself those questions that I just gave you. That is, those questions will help you to discover why you are where you are, why you got to where you are right now, and why you are in that state of debt that you cannot pay back, and why you are owing an order, especially the bad debt. Now let's keep on going. There's another thing you still need to do for you to really get rid of debt, because so I'm sure some of you are expecting me to just start by giving you some practical things to do. Maybe start economizing, or to start reducing your expenses, and go and pay this, go and pay that, or run to this, go and this. No, I'm going to bring those solutions later. I'm going to bring those solutions, what to do physically and practically, later. But before I begin to give you those practical solutions on how to deal and offload your debt, I must first of all deal with your mistakes. And I must first of all help you open your eyes to see where you are. If you don't see where you are and the circumstances that are led to that your indebtedness, then you will still keep on going back into the debt. And even if you pay this debt now, you will have another one tomorrow. And so that leads me to the next point that I want to make. This leads me to the next point I want to make. The next point I want to make is, and this is what you need to work on. You need to answer this question as well. It is a different group of questions. This question is totally different from the first questions I've given you. This question deals with the wrong thinking system, of wrong value system that you have in regards to money and debt. Many of us have the wrong value system in regards to money and debt. Some of us are in debt because of our wrong value system. So that's another thing we need to do. You need to make a list of the wrong value system that you have in regards to money, and in regards to debt, or the wrong value system that you have that have now led you into this situation where you are right now, that you are in debt. So, I call in Russian language here, I call it debt. Myth. Some people have some myth in their mind in regards to money, and that gives them, it gives them problem. So what are the wrong attitude you have? For example, if you are borrowing money just because you want to go, like in my culture where I come from, you want to go to a party and you need to have a dress code for that party, and so because you need to, please your friend and go to them to that party and have the same husband and wife are wearing the same dress, and then all the friends wearing the same dress, and because that is the code or the color of the dress they have given you, and the style, so you don't have the money, you have to go and borrow money. Well, the problem here is more than just money then. The problem here is more than you paying your debt. The problem here is you changing your mindset. So we need to help you to get to a place where you say, okay, I'm not going to be pleasing the crowd anymore. I'm not going to be living for others. I'm never going to do things because other people are telling me to do it. I'm never going to do things because I want to fit into the society or to the demands of the society. So you've got to get to a place where you renew your mind, you renew your thinking. So your value system in this case is a value system of people pleaser. You are a value system of crowd pleaser. Or you could say it's a public opinion value system. So if you respect public opinion more than you respect the loss of money, more than you respect your future and your life, you will keep on getting into that debt. You will keep on getting into the debt. Or maybe you have another wrong value system or thinking model, that says I must give my children the best. My children must always have the best. So you're sending your children to the best schools, you are giving them the best clothes, you are giving them the best of everything, but you cannot afford the best right now. You cannot afford the best. So if you cannot afford the very best for your child, give them the best love. Give them the best treatment. Give them the best attitude, the best kindness, the best teaching, the best upbringing. But don't be giving your children the best. But so there are some parents who think like that, who think that they want to give their kids the best, and in the process of giving their kids the best, they go into debt. They go into debt, and they say, "But it's my children, it's my family. Oh, not I just must do this for my family." Well, I'm sorry. Maybe you need to change that attitude. Maybe you need to change that value system of putting your children, putting them the head of your money priorities. So you need to be able to, tell your children sometimes that I'm sorry, I cannot afford this. I'm not going to buy this for you. I'm not going to do this. We cannot afford it. So that's one of the value systems that you might want to change, and a lot of things that that is just wrong. For example, like the other day, I was telling people that you should try to live without credit cards. That try to live without credit cards, and so many people started writing me, especially people in America. They were writing me and saying that you cannot live in America without a credit card. I said you can live without. I know people in America who live in America without credit cards. They live with debit card. You can live with debit card, but not with. You can have a card. You can have a card, but it's not going to be credit card. It's going to be a debit card. So it looks the same, but the debit card is that you have money in your account. The credit card is saying you don't have money in your account, but you are spending the money you don't have. You are spending the money that the banks puts there, or credit card is an automatic borrowing. So you are getting yourself into debt each time you use credit card. And somebody said, no, but credit card is not bad. Okay, even now someone is asking, why are you talking about credit cards? Well, I'm talking only to people who need help. I'm only talking to people who want help. And I'm only talking to people who want to get themselves out of the credit, out of the debt burden. I'm talking to them about overcoming the burden of debt. So only people who want to come out of debt, who want to get themselves out of that burden, they are the ones I'm talking to. So if you are fine with credit card, please have your way. We're all free agents. We can do what we want with our lives. But what I'm saying is, people who are coming to listen to me and they need help to overcome and overhaul the debt they have in their lives, one of the things they have to deal with is to change their mindset about credit cards. And you must know that even the money you are borrowing, somebody says the most important thing is for you to service your debt and pay your credit card on time. Yes, because it gives you credit card history. I know that. You have a better credit history. Yes, that is all good. But it's a trap. It's a trap. You might be paying for your credit card right now, and you are having good credit history. But what about if you lose your job? What about if something goes wrong, and you need to still keep on paying the debt and on the credit card? And what about if you have an accident? What about if something goes wrong? And so you don't want to. And sometimes the credit cards could be deceptive, and because they give you limits. But if you are really having a lot of money, I mean, a lot. If they find out that you are making a lot of money, or you're having a good salary, they remove the limit. They tell you, go and borrow, go and spend as much credit card, as much money on your credit card as you want. Sometimes they give you limitless credit card. So you get into more debt without even realizing it. But you'll be thinking, I can afford it, I can afford it, I can service that. Oh, it's just $10 a month. Or it's just $200 a month. It's just $300 a month. But it buries you. It could bury you. And apart from all that, I discovered the other day that apart from you paying the debt, if you are having a credit card, that you are automatically losing the 30% you are supposed to be paying yourself. Because most credit card companies make up to 30% of all money on your credit card as the profit for the credit card company. So you are actually paying 30% extra to whatever debt. You are paying the bank extra to the money you've spent on the debt or on credit card. So let's say you have spent $1,000, on your credit card, getting it from the bank. I mean, the bank money, credit card. So you spent $1,000. On that $1,000, you need to pay some percentage to the bank. So you are overpaying the bank for the money. You are paying the $1,000, then you are paying the percentage to the bank, and also besides that, you are going to pay the company, the credit card company, another 30% on all whatever you are spending on that your credit card. So there is a burden in that. There is a burden in that. And that gives you debt. That, it draws you. It's so subtle. You don't even realize it sometimes, but it's so subtle that it keeps on drawing you into that debt, bigger and bigger. And that's one of the ways that people go into debt. And you just have to talk about it. There is no way I can help you be debt-free without talking about credit cards. Because that is one of the most subtle ways that Satan gets people into debt. So, somebody is writing here, Adelaja says, they tell you to pay minimum payment every month so that you never get out of debt, because you are paying minimum this, minimum that. So if you are paying minimum, it means you never finish paying it. You keep on paying it all the time. You keep on paying it all the time. And that is crazy. That is crazy. Coral says, God bless you. Happy Father's Day. Okay, thank you, Coral. She says, these are the very same principles she lives by. I don't want any credit card. Thank you. I think, you can have, but you could help yourself and just don't get yourself trapped. Adelaja said, I cut my credit cards into pieces. Now we live within our means. Well, it's very deceptive, You might not realize it that it's deceptive, but it is. It is deceitful. Yeah. And, Betty is saying in African culture or certain people go and buy every time people have sales. Africans want to go and buy sales, clothes in sales, but sales is also a way of getting your money out of your pocket. Sales is a way of getting your money out of your pocket. So, yeah, there are a lot of traditions, a lot of things that we do that might not be the best, that might be giving us or landing us in debt. Taiwo Ikwenson says, I live in Britain for over 7 years. From day one till now, myself and my wife have no credit cards, you see. Even when we had nothing, we don't know the color of the cards. We have always lived within our means. Well, I think it's safer. It's safer to live that way. Live by what you can afford. Yeah, live by what you can afford. So anyway, so I'm sorry if someone has been offended that I'm talking about credit card, but it's your choice. You don't have to do what I say. I'm just trying to say that if you have that belief system that you cannot live in a society, because actually I was convinced by a lot of people when I used to go to America. People tell me that it is good actually to have credit cards. You have to actually have credit cards, just manage them very well, which is true, but there is a little bit of danger there anyway. Use debit card if anything, because people want to have credit history, and the idea with credit history is that you'll be able to get more loan. But loan and borrowing is not always the best thing, and there are of good borrowing. Like I said, there are good loans and good debt. Like I said, if you are borrowing just a fraction of what you have, like 30%, but you already have 70% of the worth or the net worth or the asset of whatever you are borrowing, or you are borrowing just maybe 10% of what you already have, just to add to what you have already. That might be a good one. But when another area that people, because right now all over the world there is this more real estate craze and mortgage. So everybody is buying mortgage, and we are buying mortgages on debt. Now the problem with that is that if your mortgage, you have to be very careful with your mortgage and with buying a house on debt. If you are buying that house on debt and you are sure that the economy is good enough that the people you are bringing to the house to rent the house, the tenants, if the money they are paying is good enough for you to pay for your mortgage in the bank, or if the money is good both for the if you are renting out the apartment or the house and the money that is coming in is good enough to pay for the debt in the bank and to cover for the maintenance of the house, then that is not a bad one. That is a good mortgage. But sometimes it could be very trickish. It could be very trickish. Sometimes you think that the money the money that's supposed to be coming in on the mortgage is supposed to be enough, but you discover that something happens in the economy and then the money is not enough, and then you have to be bringing money out of your pocket to pay for that mortgage to the end. That might be very painful, and that might be very trickish right there. So you bought a house thinking that you are renting it out and it's going to be taking care of itself. If it's taking care of itself, that is brilliant. But if you think it's going to take care of itself, then you discover that it cannot take care of itself really, and then you still have to be using your salary to be. So it means what was supposed to be an asset has become a liability. So that's why you must carefully consider and calculate how much money will be coming in from the rent if you are using if you are got a mortgage on your house, and if that money if you are going to use it as an asset. But the one that is really bad is that many people go and take a mortgage on a house and they don't even get tenants to live in that house. They go and live in that house themselves. That is that is a dangerous one, because then you are depending only on your salary. You are depending on your salary, that you are going to be using your salary to pay for the, or for you're going to be using your income to pay for the mortgage, to pay the bank. So can you imagine, you need to pay the bank, you're having a salary of maybe £2,000 or $2,000, and then you are going to be paying the bank $500 or $400 on your mortgage, and you are living in that house, and that house is not bringing you money. That is not so smart. That is not so smart, because then you are living in liability. You are living in a house that is taking money away from you every month. And some people say, well, that money I could have been paying it anyway, in another place where I am staying. Where I would have been staying. But why don't you do like this? This is what I advise people to do. Why don't you, if you have taken a mortgage on that house, why don't you rent it out? Actually, the best scenario is if you could rent out. I don't know if that is possible in many countries now because the economy is so bad. But it could be possible, really, that you rent out you take a mortgage on your house and then rent out the house, and the money, but rent out the house not to one person. Give out the house room by room. So let's say you have 3 rooms and you give out to 3 tenants. That way, you will have enough money coming to take care of the mortgage for the house, and also 2 people is enough. The rent of 1 person, 2 people will be enough to take care of the mortgage of the house. Then the 3rd person, the rent from him will be also good enough to help you pay for the smaller apartment that you are living in, or to pay for the smaller house that you are living in. So the ideal scenario about mortgage is for you to take the house, take money, or get the money from the bank, rent it out, so that the money that is coming from the tenant is totally covering the debt you are paying the bank every month, or the maintenance. But then you are having more money coming in because you have several tenants, and then that money, you are also, from that particular house, you are also paying for the smaller house, or 1 room, or smaller apartment or flat where you are living with your family. So that house alone, that way, is paying for itself, and it's also paying for you. That is the ideal situation. That's the ideal situation. So that way, then you will not have that excuse by saying that, oh, let me just live here because I will be paying rent anyway. But why don't another person pay your rent? Why don't other tenants pay your rent and pay also your mortgage? That is the ideal situation, really. That's the ideal situation. But we are not living an ideal. Yeah, even though that is the ideal situation, but we don't live in an ideal world. So you need to really, make your calculations well. You need to sit down and get to work on calculating all these things and see how it works out for you. You need to get your you need to get your mathematics, get your calculations in order. Okay. Neil is asking me, what about leasing a car? What are my thoughts on leasing a car? That's interesting. What I'm thinking about leasing a car is that could also be a debt trap. It could be a debt trap. But I think, the bottom line is there any way you could do it in such a way that your car will be bringing in some money for you? Is there any way you could turn around that car from a liability to become an asset? Or leasing also could be good sometimes if you sit down and calculate how much money buying a car will have cost you, and if you are leasing it, maybe you could actually count it in such a way that your lease money will be much less than if you had bought the car. Because if you are buying the car, you are paying like $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 for a whole car, and then you have to maintain it, and then you have to pay for the fuel all the time. So that's a lot of money to be able to sustain a car. But leasing it, if for the long term, if you calculate it, maybe you want to lease it for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, maybe the money will still be less than you will pay for maintaining a whole car. So if you are going to calculate it, and the money is going to be less than, it's going to be for you to lease a car for a certain period of time. So let's say leasing a car will cost you just $2,500 in 5 years, and buying a car will cost you $20,000. Definitely, you want to lease it. You don't want to buy it because buying it, that is, you have to calculate the expenses of the car and the cost of the car, the repairs of the car, the fuel, the gas, and all that. If that whole amount is bigger than what it will cost you when you are leasing it, then definitely it's better to just go and lease the car and use a lease car rather than your own car that you are paying for. So all these things are very trickish sometimes. They are very trickish. But the idea is that, first of all, the first thing I told you have to do is to ask yourself some hard questions. Why did I get here? How did I get here? And I gave you some of those questions. And this second point I was talking about is you need to also challenge your thinking. You need to challenge your value system, and what are the thinking system that has brought you to that place you are. I mean, what are the fundamental questions? Fundamental belief system that you have that is wrong in regards to money. What are the fundamental belief system that you have that has gotten you to where you are. And some of them you might need to challenge some of those belief systems. So like somebody just said, people buying sales all the time, going for sales. And that could also be trickish and putting you in bondage. Now, another thing that I think we should talk about is that some people believe in borrowing money to offload another debt. So people are borrowing money to cancel a previous debt. So getting into debt to cancel another debt, getting into debt to cancel another debt. And so I think that is also a fundamental question that is about belief system. It's a question about belief system. Ojekwa Israel is saying, good morning, Pastor. I like that illustrations on mortgage. The summary I got here is that whatever loan type one takes, it's important that we turn it into an asset and make sure the loan services itself. At the same time, give you extra. Yes, assets must put money in your pocket. That's right. And Neil asked about leasing cars, and somebody just answered here. Cecile says, yes. She just got a revelation. Maybe, or Cecile is a man, I don't know. He said, yes, it's better to lease a car than to buy a car. He got a revelation that way. Even when you buy a car in mortgage, or you mortgage a car, or you buy a car on loan, loan, and that also to take a lot of money from your pocket. So, anyway, another thing I'm trying to deal with is the mentality, and there are some people who do this. When they just want to get themselves out of the immediate problem. And the way they get themselves out of the immediate problem is that they go, when they know that they're in trouble, they have borrowed money, and they know that the people are after them, and they are demanding that they pay the money back. They quickly go and borrow from another person again to pay the other person they were owing, and then, they wait until the time comes, and then begin to, but you don't do that. That's not a good thing to do. You don't want to borrow money to pay for the debt that you are not, you not work for, you've not, that you couldn't pay. So you don't borrow money to pay another money. You don't go into debt to pay for another debt. That would be a vicious circle that will never end. You don't want to go into a situation like that. That is a wrong model. So if you know people who are borrowing, and sometimes the problem is that we lend those kind of people money because we don't know that they are borrowing money to pay for another debt that they were already owing somewhere. That could be a messy situation. That could be a messy situation. It will get you into trouble. It will get your family into trouble. It will get your kids into trouble. It will mess up your reputation big time. It will mess up your reputation. So that's one of the worst practices in regards to money and in regards to debt that you could ever get yourself involved with. You don't want to ever get to a place whereby you are borrowing money to pay money. Okay, maybe you could say, yeah, but the situation was so bad. Maybe there could be an exception, but it's I will not recommend it. So for me, says that is like robbing Peter to pay Paul. It's getting you into a lot of problems. Ovi Dominic says, sir, please, how do I know the right time to build a house or buy a car? Oh my God. Yeah, I think you are new here, Obi. And if you have internet, please go to all my teachings in the past 2-3 weeks and listen to them. I already gave an answer to that many times. So if you are new, go listen to my old recordings, please. Awodu Shao says, I just got a revelation. Devil is in trouble. Yeah, I want Satan to be in trouble. I want him to be in trouble. That's why I'm doing all these teachings. And I'm glad that Satan is in trouble right now. Well. Yeah, so please, you don't want to rob Peter to pay or whatever the lady said. You don't want to rob Peter to pay Paul, right? You don't want to rob Peter to pay Paul. Adedamola is saying borrowing to cancel another debt should only be used in the case where you can cancel your credit cards, which is usually about 30% approximately. If the loan is about 10% approximately, it will make you lesser time to pay off your debt, and you pay lesser than you pay on the credit card. Well, that's a suggestion right there. But I'm just not in favor of that strategy of borrowing to go and pay another debt. It's like it's going to suck you in. It's going to suck you in, and it's going to be a vicious circle that will never end. It's going to be a vicious circle that will never end. So take care. Be careful of your decisions. So anyway, getting rid of debt and getting out of debt, overcoming that burden of debt, has to start with changing your decisions. Has to start with self-examination, self-analysis, changing your decisions, finding out the wrong decisions you are taking, and changing your value systems. Changing your value system in regards to money. That is the way you begin to overcome your debt. The process of overcoming your debt is not in paying the money. That is not the very first thing you need to do when you want to overcome debt. And I'm sure some of you have experienced this. Have you ever experienced a situation whereby you are paying your debt, but it's like the debt never ends? Or even your credit card debt or your loan in the bank, you are paying it. It's like you are paying every month. You are paying your debt. You are servicing your debt, but it's like it's never ending, because when you are trying to pay your debt, not setting yourself free mentally first, that's what you get. You go into a bondage, because debt is a bondage, and one of the ways it enslaves you is that it keeps you in a perpetual process of payment. First of all, you start paying the percentage on top, and then by the time you finish paying the percentage and go to the payment of the real debt itself, you are so neck deep in the thing, and you might never get out. It is very difficult for anybody to actually ever truly get out of paying debt or of debt. Very difficult. And what makes it difficult is because people don't change their mindset first. They don't start overcoming debt in their mind. They don't start overcoming debt by doing what I'm telling you to do now, by sitting down, giving themselves some critical thinking and analysis. You must overcome that debt here first, in your mind. You must first of all defeat the debt in your mentality, in yourself. You must first of all overcome that debt, the burden of debt, mentally. You must see yourself out by your decisions, by your principles. You must put the right principles in place first. Once the right principles are in place, once you have overcome the debt in your mind, it's just the payment of the debt is just a matter of time. You'll be able to get rid of the debt and be able to pay yourself out. I will get to that as well. I will get into how you begin to pay, what is the best way, what the best strategy to begin to pay your debt, and how you come out of debt. I will get into that. I will I will be talking about that also as the week progresses. But what I'm trying to say right now is that the first thing you must do when it comes to debt is defeat it mentally. Defeat it mentally. Now, let's say you have defeated it mentally. Then what do you want to do physically to begin to offload your debt, to begin to cancel your debt? You want to, first of all, what I said yesterday, you want to start by having a principle. And the principle of servicing your debt is this: you never ever pay more than 20% of your income to service your debt. 20%. You dedicate or set apart 20% of your salary of your income to be paying for your debt. 20%. And there are also a lot of strategies, like who do you pay first, especially if there are many and all that. But I will be talking about all that in the future. I'll be talking about all that in the future teaching. But if you want to begin to do something about paying your debt right now, 20%, that's maximum. You can start by 10% or 15% or 5%, but just start putting something out. Or start putting something aside. Or maybe you don't necessarily need to go and begin to pay that money to the person you owe, but you might just want to put it aside in a different bank account and begin to put it there as the money that you will be using to service your debt. Somebody is saying, most of the reason why most of the time we never get out of debt is because we are waiting till the debtor begins to ask, or the debtor begins to knock on our doors. If you owe any money, begin to plan for the payment right now. You can open a separate bank account from anything you have. Even if you are going to begin, if you need to pay the debt in 5 years' time, begin now to put some money, maybe 5% of your income, separated for debt service already. Put some money already, or and if it's going to be like 2 or 1 year or 2 years time for you before you pay the money back, put that money, gather some money, put it in an account where you are just saving it, and when the money is big enough, begin to invest the money with the purpose of paying the debt. So you could go into investment just for paying your debt. You could go into saving just to save money enough and then invest to be paying the debt that you owe in the future. So those are some of the planning that you want to do about your debt. So those are some of the practical things you want to do. Well, before we finish, I would like to ask you to write your decisions, if you don't mind. I'd like to hear people's decisions and your whatever you are thinking about, what you are feeling, your impression about this teaching, and your decision about this teaching. And please write to me. Write whatever you think. What is your decision about this teaching right now? And what do you want to do with it? And does it help you? Has it helped you anyhow, or do you think it will help you, or you'll be able to help other people through it? And what are your decisions? Okay. Olukayode says, I do not borrow, but I'm a victim of borrowing or lending, that is. I have been, it's a victim of borrowing, so it means he lends. I have been robbed by borrowers several times to pay themselves. Yeah, that's so sad. I do not know why I fail to overcome emotional giving. Right now, I have lots of bad loans outside. Yeah, people know how to exploit your kindness. Your teachings have liberated me. Thank God. No more loans to people in whatever guise. Yeah, because you are not a bank. You are not a bank. My eyes are now open. Thank God. That's a good testimony right there. I would rather have that kind of testimony. Betty Mueller, brother, look at you there. I feel for you. Me too. Emotionally giving is a killer. Money is not emotional. It is logical. Shoni Rahola Yemi says, I have decided to live within my means. Okay, that's good. Good decision. Oluwaseyi Adetola says, do I give up my credit card and take a debit card? Well, if you have not understood that from my teaching, I don't know what you understood. I think that is a smart thing to do, my brother. You had somebody say they cut their credit card into pieces. So, Ovie Dominic says, sir, please, I registered for the mentorship program with you. I did all my course requirement for level 1 circle, but I didn't get a book for that level, even though I tried several. Okay, please write to me. Can you write to me? Write me to pastor@godembassy.org. pastor@godembassy.org. Okay, please. So, by the way, if you don't know that I have a mentorship program, online mentorship program, it's on my blog, sundayadelajablog.com. You can go and register for the mentorship with me, and also you can register there for those people who want to join my team to go to Nigeria with me. If you want to join my team to Nigeria and you want to, you want to know more information about the Nigerian team, you can also go to my blog, sundayadelajablog.com. You will see the Nigerian transformation banner there, or we change Nigeria banner. Go and press on that banner, and you'll be able to see the form you need to fill, and you can register for the newsletter concerning Nigeria as well. And yes, and if you don't have this book, Money Will Make You Rich, it will also help you to improve your financial life. This book is on Amazon, and the book on Nigeria leadership as well is on Amazon. Okay, Nkiru says, very helpful. I have been making series of decisions following these teachings. I master my life now. I master my emotions concerning money now. Thank you, sir. Joseph Ndulu said, amen. Thank you, man of God. Okay. Shoni Ron said, my mindset changed to pay myself now first before anyone. Brilliant. Esther Bless say, Pastor Sunday, your laughter make me laugh. Keep it up. Okay, thank you so much. Well, nobody is saying anything about the teaching on debt. Nobody is saying much about the teaching on debt. So it means we don't have debt, or we don't have challenge with that, or we don't have decisions about that. Well, whatever the case might be, it was nice being with you. Please go share the link. Let's share this link with as many people as possible, because the debt problem is a real problem out there. So maybe it will be able to help somebody. We'll see you tonight. I'll be back tonight at 9 o'clock Ukraine time. That is 7 p.m. Nigerian time, 7 p.m. British time, and 2 p.m. American time, Eastern time in America. Betty says, helpful and useful. No one is talking about these things in this world. Everyone is just deceiving you. Thank you for telling us the truth. Yeah, that's so true. Everyone is just deceiving, especially the banks and the advertisement companies. Everyone is just deceiving you. Nobody telling you the truth. You are so right. Fumi Adewusi says, I've been liberated by your message. I will never get any credit in form of credit cards or store card or anything that says buy now, pay later. That's smart. I was once in debt but learned in hard way. I have taken over from money. I am now the master of money. Brilliant for me. Neil Norman says, thanks for sharing. I'm getting married in a few months and we are barely debt free and living on love. Beautiful. But you got me thinking, and I'll be praying. Thank you. Dora says, I'm late, but I don't have debt. Thank God. Wow, you are a free person. Awodu says, I got strategies to be a master. Yes, master over money. Kike Moron Keji says, I have to find a way to monetize my car. Or maybe you want to consider leasing. Maybe lease may be a better option for your car. Maybe that will cost you less money. Well, everyone, it's been nice talking to you, and it's been nice, being with you today. I'll be back in the evening, and go share this link. It could be a blessing to someone. God bless you. Bye.